Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm the GM Philosopher, and today we're talking about should you go easy or go hard on new D&D players? And there's actually two different directions to take with this. On one hand, we're talking about new D&D players to the game, like new to the game. On the other hand, new to your game. How should you handle it? Should you go easy on them, or should you give them the fire? Should you put them to the brimstone right away? Well, I'm going to give you the answer. Let's dive right into it. Let's first talk just a little bit about players who are new to the game as a whole. Now, D&D is a social, community-driven, collaborative, cooperative affair where we create intellectual art in the form of stories and narratives and plot arcs, and we role-play characters and we create an adventure together. Even more than that, we create a narrative and we experience adventure together. So the answer to the question of whether you should go easy or hard on new players really comes down to the answer to the question of what is best for the role-play experience. And above all else, the thing that we should strive for in our TTRPGs, D&D especially, is this. We want the game to be enjoyable. We want it to be an experience that people will not only have fun engaging in, but will look back on with fondness, with good memories. They can laugh about the funny stuff that happened. They can revel in the epic moments of adventuring, combat, roleplay, etc. And so what best facilitates this is going to be the answer to the previous question, which is whether to go easy or go hard on new players. And to be honest, there's a bit of a balance to be struck. On one hand, it is true that if you go too easy on brand new players to the game, you can create sort of like self-handicapped players who don't really learn to step out on their own and be self-sufficient. In my experience, generally speaking, there are two types of gamers. There are the types of gamers who are pretty self-sufficient when it comes to understanding the rules, creating their characters, and just in general participating in the game in a self-sustaining way. And then there are players who really need help. They kind of need their hands held. They don't really understand the rules very much. Maybe they need help leveling up every time. I firmly believe that a lot of this comes down to personality difference. Some people are just more about that D&D life, while some are more about hanging out and having fun, and the rules in the game are just sort of the mechanism that facilitate that. However, I have also found that if you treat players in this kind of self-handicapped fashion where you don't really expect them to do some of the self-sustaining work that it takes to run a character in a TTRPG, then you might create a situation where these players will continue to rely on you to do things that they're probably capable of doing, maybe they would even enjoy doing, but because the situation is that they were basically gone so easy on in the beginning, almost handheld, handicapped, almost treated with this sense of like kid gloves, in the sense of you maybe not wanting to make it overwhelming or too difficult, you might actually teach them without even meaning to not be as good of TTRPG gamers as they have the potential to be. And I do actually think that this could be a problem. With that being said, I don't want to throw players to the wolves. I want to answer questions. I want to be available to help coach them in a positive way. And to me, this is really the big question is what is it going to take to help this player over the course of the next, 5, 6, 7, 8 sessions to become a full-fledged RPG gamer who is knowledgeable enough about the process and the system, who, given the proper support and learning opportunities, will eventually come to be a member of the table who, when they come to the table, they don't like create a bunch of needless extra work, but they come to the table ready to contribute to the game. So here's my basic rule of thumb when it comes to bringing brand new players into your gaming table. Give them support. Make sure you schedule some time to help walk them through the basic rules, help them create their first character, explain the rulebook to them. If they do not have a rulebook, you might have to print out their class features and things like that so that they have them available, and make sure that they have the tools needed, and then also make sure that they understand the basic responsibilities of playing a game and running a character. Personally, I really do believe that if every player comes to the table with an attitude of being able to run their own character, they can level up themselves, they can strategize their characters' abilities and skills and play style, and they don't need a ton of help in doing this. This is going to create a better game because it won't tax the GM so much. With that being said, I'm not opposed to helping those types of players who maybe aren't as hardcore about the rules and they just want to play. And I'm not opposed at all to helping them, but it does take extra time. And generally, I'll schedule extra time to do this because it's going to take a while to help those players get to the point, like with level ups, character creation, understanding spells, picking new spells, all these types of things are going to take time. And if the players don't learn how to do it in a self-sustaining way, then the GM is going to have to invest time into it. Personally, I find that if the player adds a lot in the roleplay sense, I'm willing to invest the extra hour or so kind of before the session starts to help them get their player caught up if they need to level up, choose spells, etc. With that being said, I probably also couldn't manage an entire group like this. If I didn't have at least a 50% of my group being the types of self-sustaining, self-powering role players who can like manage their sheets, but also even help other newer players. If that wasn't the case, it'd probably be too overwhelming for me. And this brings us to point number 2 of this conversation is, should you go easy or go hard on people who have played D&D or whatever TTRPG you're playing in the past, and then they join your game? Okay, here's what I believe about this. Once again, the same question comes in. What is it going to take to create the funnest, best, most positive game experience? So for me, I don't want to just crush them when they come in. I don't want them to think this is a game that's out to get them. I'm not thinking to myself, you know what, I have to prove to this player they can't mess with me. You know what? Huge monster right in the beginning. It's focusing him. I don't want to do this kind of thing. Like I could see how there might be times when, singling out a new player in some little ways might be kind of a fun thing. Maybe you pick on them just a tiny bit, or maybe, there's a fun, like a villain like focuses them a little bit, but not in like a massive way. I rather prefer to see this in a story building, storytelling sense, and sense of giving their character significance in the session. Because one thing that can be difficult is when new players join your group, you have an existing narrative, an existing story, an existing rapport, and they might feel a little bit left out if they don't have some kind of significance shown. So I like to show them a little bit more than the typical significance, not to crush their soul and cause them to have to re-roll a whole new character after session 1, but in the sense of like helping them to feel like, you know what, I was an important part of this session, and this was a fun thing, because that at the end of the day is what it's all about. It's about having fun together, playing our favorite game, the best game in the world, D&D, or whatever TTRPG you happen to play. So there you go. Those are my 2 cents on the matter. Go easy or go hard on new D&D players. What do you think? Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. While you're at it, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I also have a link in the description. You can download my free plot randomizer ebook, and you can join my Discord. So do all those things, which helps my channel grow and gets you on my mailing list or in my Discord channel to get awesome stuff and interact with other cool GMs and awesome people doing awesome game stuff. So there you go. That's all I have to say about that. Hey, I'm here almost every day creating videos about the best game in the world, D&D. So I will see you awesome people on the next one.